Hello everyone, this is Leslie Juflis with Trading Live Online, and let's do a little update for the S&P 500. The last time I posted the video for the update, the prices were still above this trend line right here. We'd had this rally to the upside, but the market could not proceed any further and started down. Now, also, I want to point out, so if you did not see that last video, make sure to watch it for more details on what I'm going to show you right now. But I told you at the time that there was an A, B, C, D pattern that would be completing if the price came below this trend line. And I also went into some detail about what you need to know about those patterns and working with support or resistance breaks. So make sure to go back and watch that last video. And you can see here that the price just continued to the downside. There was a very small little consolidation pattern and then continuation to the downside. Uh, I've had these lines, horizontal lines right here marked in for a long time. You can see the break, the close right at it, then a break below. I've had a little bit of a retest back up it. So this 4150-ish area, this was a level that had been watching as the potential support area. We had the 4200, and here's where it climbed up from there as expected. And now we've come back below that 4200 level. So that's going to be, again, another important level to watch, but now it's going to be watched on first test up as a resistance area to see if price does find resistance there. That's the expectation on a first test up. However, when you have an expectation and the price does something different from that, that's giving you some information. So in this example, if the price came back around to the 4200 level and just came strongly back up through it, that would be giving us some information that we'd want to do some analysis with. Now, this head and shoulder pattern, so this is kind of what everybody's been watching. It break to the downside, break below those trend lines, then back up through them. But as I mentioned in a previous video as well, that sometimes price will come back and retest that neckline. Sometimes it can come a little bit in. You don't really want to see it go much farther than this. And then it did the testing and then turned around and this time very decisively broke that trend line to the downside. So these lines here are the targets for this head and shoulder pattern. And so roughly that's coming in to around the 41.15-ish area. Let's not get locked into one price. Let's call it 41.15, 41.20. You want to be watching where the low and the target of this is. So if we look, let me put this over a little bit further. If we look where that's coming in, we can see that there was a lot of consolidation around that level. So I think that it's likely that the price can get down to just above 4100 and test that level. This next line just below it is right around that 4100 level. So just another few points below where the head and shoulder is. We haven't really seen, other than this little consolidation flag pattern to the upside, we haven't seen much of retracement. We haven't seen an ABCD sell pattern form. So if we find support in these areas, we want to be watching to see if any retracement patterns form on there, an ABCD, etc. And you definitely want to be watching to see how these support levels hold. So one thing I am seeing as well is I'm starting to see a little bit of some divergence, not a lot, but we have to kind of wait and see how those play out. When you're in a market that's moving in a direction such as this, sometimes the divergences are nothing more than the pattern on your oscillator, but the price doesn't really get strong moves off of it. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes the divergences will just get what's kind of called run over, meaning that the divergence is there, but the price gets very little reaction on the divergence and then continues in the direction of the trend. So with what we've seen so far, we have to take into consideration that here we had the higher high, and then we had, from this low, slightly higher low, and now we have a lower high, and below this low was a lower low. And now we're continuing the pattern of lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, because this low was taken out. So until that pattern changes again, we've got a downtrend right now. Okay, let's take a look at one other chart. So just to take a quick look at an intraday view of the S&P 500, we were just looking at the daily chart. So if we're looking at this chart, I'll kind of scrunch it up a little bit more, but it's just showing you some levels of support resistance that had occurred previously back here last March, April, May, and then the high that was made here. And then, some of the patterns and things that were gap areas that were occurring. So right here, let me draw this across. This is where some support had been on here. So that was just above the 4,200 level. So that's going to be another level that the market's got to get through. That 4,200 level, then this level right here is going to be important. But again, I'm expecting first test up for most likely a reaction back to the downside. If we don't get that, then we will kind of reanalyze what's happening. You can see here, you can see in more detail how getting down close to that price target of the head and shoulder, which is right about here, you can see how it's coming back into the low end of this consolidation area. Over here was that price level. So we might see this right down here. This is just below 4,100 right here where this arrow is. This is where breakout to the upside occurred and then testing. So again, my expectation, unless we start to see just super long bars through it, is that we'll see some bounces come along here. And again, until that pattern of lower lows and lower highs changes, we're still in a downtrend and everything is just going to be, a rally to the upside, likely testing price levels. Okay, so that's it for the update on this video. I hope everybody has a great weekend. And when I see something else worth talking about, I will put another video up for you. But thanks for watching, and please don't forget to subscribe and like the video.